Welcome to Gazali. Today at Museum of Goa, we are having a very important function. A few months ago, Section 377 was repealed by the Supreme Court of India. We decided that it is a duty of the artists to take an initiative, to take the first step, to declare to the society that, well, we welcome the LGBTs, they are part of us, part of the society, and we do not discriminate. Even though the section is repealed, the discrimination against LGBT community still continues, and we have one of the most important stalwarts of the movements for the LGBT community, Ashok Kavi. His life has been as colorful as the LGBT flag. He speaks Konkani, and his connection with Goa is his Kuladaivat is Mangeshi, and his family was in Mangalore, and grandfather was as rebellious as him because he started dining with communities he was not supposed to dine with, and he was sort of expelled from the caste. So instead of Shenoy, he took the name Rao Kavi. He is born in Mumbai, and he has been the founder of perhaps one of the first LGBT foundations, which is Humsafar. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yeah. So first, please express what do you feel today that we have this, you are in Goa celebrating LGBT, the freedom is in the air.
I feel very excited today to be here and see, Subodh's work. It's amazing, and the collection he's got of LGBT art here stunned me. So some of the stuff is like sculptures, some of it is painting, some of it is graphics, and it's all very exciting because it opened our eyes to a whole new world. Even though I'm LGBT, I'm a gay man, but the art by possibly LGBT and by other people who seem to know about LGBT, maybe not everything, but it shows that there is a curiosity, there's a thirst to know and understand sexual minorities. So I'm very excited to be here.
Tell us, when did you know that you are gay?
I've kept on writing about it. I do a very important column in Lok Satta called every alternate Saturday, but in which I have explained that I came out and understood myself as a homosexual man when I was 12. And that also was in school when we were playing on the fields. I don't know whether it's hockey or football. So all the girls came in after our period was over playing. And all the boys started whistling, the older boys, and they said, so I asked my captain, why is everybody whistling? So he said that, look, they're very sexy, these girls. So I was horrified because I didn't find girls sexy. I found my captain sexy. So I asked the captain, what happened? So he said, don't you realize that, because I used to also play with the girls, but more like doctor, exploring our bodies, but not sexually. So the captain said, this is the way we do it, how frogs do it and how the dog. So I was horrified. What I did is I went home and I asked Anna, daddy, my father, aisa hai, this is what happened in the school, and is it true? So he said yes. I said, what really happened? So he claimed he was an engineer. So he took a socket and plug, and he said, see, what you have is a plug and what the women have is a socket, and you see it. And when it goes together, then the electricity flows and then the lights come on and it's great and fun. So I said, to me it seems really unhygienic. So my father was very curious to know what was going on in my mind. So he asked me, what do you think should be? So I said, see, boys know each other, so we should be with boys. Boys should be with boys, and girls should be with girls. This doesn't look very okay, good. So he started smiling. He said, see, as you grow up, you'll realize more and more stuff. And it's not always that simple, as you say. So it's fine, but the wonderful thing was my father was always thirsty about education and knowing, he was a knowledge person. So he got me the collected work at that age of 12, 13. He got me the collected work of Havelock Ellis, and it's called The Psychology of Sex. It's one of the first European works on sexology. And it's amazing because the word homosexual is not there in it. The word was not invented.
Okay.
The word was invented in
Much later.
1889 by an Austrian clinical psychologist come journalist who wanted to describe a type of person who had sex or fell in love with somebody of his own sex. So it should be a man with man, a woman with a woman. They were both technically, medically, they're called homosexual. And it comes from two words. One is Greek, one is Latin, and one is homo is same, as in Greek.
Yes.
In Latin it is man. Okay, so same sex, same somebody who's in love with and wants to have sex with his own sex. And the word, it's a jodaksha.
And when did you actually declare it to your family that you're gay?
I was out to my father all the time. I didn't find it necessary to talk with my mother because she herself was, I always found women not aware of their own sexuality, you know. I always found them subservient and to males. And therefore I didn't think it important to come out to my mother. But I always knew that she was sympathetic. She knew something was not correct, you know. But at the same time, she didn't push me. But my father was great. He was more open about it. And a lot of incident took place. For example, we used to live in Saraswat colony in Bombay at Mahi. So behind our colony was the buggies, you know, the one who used to clean this colony, you know. And I and the buggies' son were very close. We were, as usual, transgression. So I think my mother found out that something was going on. So she complained to my father that, you know, he goes and eats in that buggy's house. You have to stop this. She didn't tell him other thing. So my father, I made his own inquiries, everything. And then in front of me, he told my mother, see, don't stop him. He's a growing boy. He'll go wherever he wants. And why are you worried about the buggy? The buggy's house is cleaner than a lot of the people here. Houses.
I know there's a lot of controversy about you and Gandhi, but in this respect, going and eating in Bhangi's house, you share some common
but I have a look where my family is Gandhian in the sense my father.
No, we will
was
not
very
discuss
close.
Gandhi exactly.
Yeah, we won't. But I have problems with Gandhi because I find him very complex, asexual, anti-sexual person.
Anyway,
he was sexophobe.
We will not go there. Now tell me, I mean, you have been a journalist.
Yeah.
Then you
22
dare,
years.
22 years, and you will continue to be a journalist.
Yes, I do.
And you have a great contribution to journalism. If you're not an LGBT activist, you could also be sort of an important journalist. And you started two periodicals. One is the Bombay.
Actually, three. I started the Indore issue of Free Press Journal, which actually fought. I worked in Free Press Journal as a city editor, chief reporter for nearly 4 years. And then I quit and became bureau chief of Malayalam Manorama in the Week, which is the largest newspaper in India actually. And I was there for 7 years. Then I was with Indian Express for 8 years as a senior journalist. So I've got approximately 22 years in journalism.
Now let us talk about the two periodicals you started. One is Bombay Dost and another Debonair.
Debonair, yes.
Now these were quite bold steps because Bombay Dost is the first gay periodical. And tell us about that. Tell us about both this.
A friend of mine who's an Englishman and he was gay. He came to India because he was very much in love with Indian men, Tony Van Brabant. He said, let us start Indian Playboy. So we were close that way, not sexually, but as friends. So he said, would you like to come? I said, fine. And we brought together a package and it was a huge success. Actually, after we left, me and Tony left, it became more like a literary magazine. It didn't become Debonair. And Debonair started going down after we left, but it was taken over by Vinod Mehta and all this. That doesn't matter. But after that, when I came out, I came back to journalism. And in 1989, I was sent to America for the 5th International AIDS Conference. And there I was really frightened because homosexuals were dying of AIDS. And it was some new disease, nobody knew it. And homosexuals were fighting for funding from the government. Nobody was giving them. And this was in a country like America where during the Reagan years, the gay community was very strong, LGBT, Rock Hudson, all of them slow and steady. You could, Hollywood was very gay, and it still is. So I came back from there, and then I was thinking that if this is the situation in America, what will happen in India? So we decided, I got a group of friends like Sohail Abbasi and all, and we sat together, and I decided my skills are as journalists. So let us help in bringing out a magazine only for journalists and about for homosexuals and about their issues. So the first copy of Bombay Dost came out in 91, and first copy had an article by Professor Shrikant Bhatt, who is professor of criminal law in Bombay Law College. He's also a very famous criminal lawyer. He has handled the cases of Dawood Abraham and Dawood Abraham. So he wrote the first article for me on Section 377. The first article in India on Section 377 came in Bombay Dost in 1991. And it said very clearly to homosexuals that you are a criminal population, because according to this law, what you are doing is will get you 10 years in imprisonment or life.
Or life, yes.
Okay. So we decided to campaign from that time. But we decided again that we will not hide and do anything. Bombay Dost, for example, has got a registration number from the RNI, Registered Newspaper, Register of Newspaper Industries, where you are not allowed to send any printed material through the post without registration. It's a crime, but that's the old British law again. But we decided to register it. We have a registration, and we also.
But did you declare that it's a homosexual?
Yes, the first charter says it, that we are a magazine for sexual minorities. The word LGBT was not very commonly known. So and whose minorities? Sexual minorities are those men who love other men and have sex with them, the women who love other women and have sex with them. Then we are for transgender, people who do not think that they are born in the same bodies as what was given to them at birth. So if I am born as a male and I don't consider myself a male and consider myself a female, then it is called transgender. So LGBTQ. Q is queer, or people who don't think straight, have got different ways of thinking, have got different ways of looking at issues, and that is called queer. So it is actually a co-opted word by the gay movement. So Bombay Dost started specifically for that. The first cover also has the manifesto, and the manifesto said we are asking for freedom. We want Section 377 out. This was in 1991 when that time.
Is it still going on, Bombay Dost?
Of course it is. Now, but because everything is on the net and everything, we don't now go, we don't have that type of publication, but we are on the net. All over this you'll see Bombay Dost, Humsafar Trust has got its...
we won't have too much time, so I will move to the next question. You started the Humsafar Trust. So tell us a little about starting the Humsafar Trust.
You see, what happened is after Bombay Dost came out, there was a huge flood of mail. Mail would come that I am like this, I am a woman like this. Something like 3,000 letters every week. So we didn't know how to handle it. So what we did is we sent all the letters that came from, say, Calcutta, from the east. We sent to groups in Calcutta. All the letters from north we sent to Delhi. All the letters from south we sent to Chennai groups. And we said that we will work from Bombay because it's called Bombay Dost. We can reach out to them. So, but reach out how? Because magazine job is not there. So the whole editorial board of Bombay Dost became the board of trustees of Humsafar Trust. That's how Humsafar Trust is born. Humsafar Trust decided one thing, that it would never replicate anything that is already in the hospitals and public health service. We will work with the government. We will not, as citizens of India, we will not do anything in hiding. We will work with the government services, we will fight with the government.
Especially from the point of view of AIDS.
Not just AIDS, everything. For example, Humsafar Trust has special arrangement with Nasik Police Academy to teach policemen how to talk to homosexuals, who is a hijra, if there's a crime by hijra, do you put him in male ward, female ward in the jail? How do we work with doctors? We have sensitization, for example, for corporates. with hotels, with that what exactly is LGBT? If you want to include, and you say inclusive, then to employ LGBT, what does it mean?
Okay, so now let me make a little comment on the judgment, because I listened to this legal explanation of the judgment, and Supreme Court has sort of scrapped in a way 377, but not just decriminalized homosexual sex, but gone one step ahead and is talking about how sensitization of the public is necessary, and it is also talking very clearly about how the government's responsibility is to sensitize the police department and all other departments. After 377 was scrapped, there is absolute silence from the government. So can you make a comment on that?
It is not the fault. I sometimes don't want to blame the government. For the simple reason, the government is not a monolithic creature. It is so many people, it is us. We vote, homosexuals also vote. So you can't always blame the government. The government doesn't know where to start. But if you talk to, if you had seen the debate on the transgender bill in Lok Sabha, you would be ashamed of our MPs. They don't know anything. They are saying God has sent down the transgender to bless us. If that is so, then why are they begging on streets?
And Ramdev Baba also cured them.
Yes, and Ramdev Baba is an idiot. I mean, we had a huge fight once.
You have known to be controversial on television.
He told me that this is homosexuality is very wrong. Is that? So I said, Arey Ramdev Baba, you are supposed to be a brahmachari. How do you know so much about sex? His face went blue. He didn't know what to say. So that half of the people don't understand. Not that it doesn't happen. It is there in our Puranas. It is there when I went during that fire when they burnt the posters and all Shiv Sena at Bombay. I went to Shiv Sena Bhavan. I took a slideshow of all the Khajuraho sculptures. VHP was there because my fight is with my own people. I'm not going to go and speak to somebody else. That is Shiv Sena, apna hi ladka. My best boyfriend was Shiv Sainik. So, I went to them and I told them that it is there in the temple sculpture, it is there in the Puranas, Brahmala is there, Sabarimala.
Can you enlighten us a little bit on this? For example, Khajuraho sculptures has gays as well as lesbian sculptures. That means it was accepted by the society. Would you blame the colonial intervention for what happened?
The colonial intervention, one is that there is definitely, you are in Goa for example, there is definitely an intrusion by Christianity. Because see, in their scriptures, it is a sin. Because of that sin, a whole family and the whole traditions of certain cities like Sodom and Gomorrah were allegedly destroyed by God. So in our scriptures, it is not a sin. So if you see the Indic civilization, you see Buddhism, for example, if you read the Dhammapada, there is nothing in the what the Buddha says against homosexuality. He doesn't even talk of God. He only talks of moral code. The Dhamma as he calls it. So there are two different types of faith systems. If one has had an effect on the other because of colonialism, because of invasion, if you read Priorka's book on Goa Inquisition, children were torn apart in front of their parents, so the parents would become Christian. We never had that type of persecution. Although there was what is called Shastrarth, when Shaivites and Vaishnavites sat down and fought and everything, and you see the argument between Shankara and Mandana Mishra.
We did not do it in the past, but nowadays lynching is happening.
Yes, of course it's bad, and we have to fight it. The point is simple. I am also, by the way, a Ramakrishna Mission Swami. I was for 2 years in the Ramakrishna Mission as a sannyasi. So I have done. That was my method of running away. But there I got the best counseling from my Swamiji, who is a brilliant Swami called Harshananda, who was actually a nuclear scientist. And he told me, you don't have to run away because of this homosexuality. Everywhere he talks of God as a mother. He says when the mother loves her children, she will make for one child, she will make payasam. For another child, she will make another dish. So God has made everything for each person if you believe in God.
I think we are deviating a bit. Can you tell us now the connections, like apart from Khajuraho, And what are the Ramayana and Mahabharata? What are the references?
There are references all the time. In Mahabharata is full of this Shikhandi and all that. You know, if you look at the Atharva Veda and all, you have Napunsaka is there. There are different types. In the Buddhist scripture, there is Pandakas. You know, the Shandas are there. So different types of men are there, of different genders. Just as there are Ambalika, for example, there is here you have a different variety. Now, for example, where does the word Napunsaka come from? It comes from, actually there were animals that were sacrificed. If they found that they were not perfect, like a bull or something, were not perfect, it was called a Napunsaka and not allowed to be sacrificed. That was then transferred to men. That he is not fully a Kshatriya, he is a Napunsaka. You know? Now all these sort of descriptions, as they become more sophisticated. Now the shrine at Sabarimalaya, Ayyappa, he is called Harihara Putra. He is a son of Shiva and Vishnu, two male gods. Now that is accepted in Hinduism. So our culture is extremely broad-minded. The colonial intervention had a problem, you know, with this. Because if you
Victorian codes with
never in our history we've had any law like Section 377. Even during the worst times of the Mughal Raj, when Aurangzeb killed Sarmad, for example, on the steps of the Jama Masjid, he says that because he used to say La ilaha and then he used to stop. La ilaha means there is no God. But when you say the kalma, the full kalma says there is no God except Allah. You know? So Sarmad used to go into a trance and say La ilaha, and he used to go into trance. So they go and tell Aurangzeb that he is a atheist. He denying God. But actually Aurangzeb kills him because Sarmad, the Sufi, was with his brother Darashikoh. And when he defeats Darashikoh, he kills all these people. That is how. So it's got nothing to do with homosexuality. It's got to do with politics. So we must understand, during the worst times of the Mughals also, this never happened. That Aurangzeb didn't kill people because they were homosexual. You know. But the British did because they were not able, they didn't know how to counter the Hijras. You know, the whole Mughal court was in the hand of Hijras. I think Mir Qasim, for example, who was in charge of the Red Fort, was a Hijra. And they had to bring in certain laws. And this law, by this law, within one generation, hardly 30 years, they had marginalized Hijra. And in the bargain, that marginalized.
Let us talk about now what is the task ahead. What do you expect from the government?
Is now that LGBT community is out and not a criminal community, our job is to make general people understand more about this. Because there is lot of suffering in society. For example, Vendor, he is setting up a counseling center only for LGBT Catholics. Because suicide rate among LGBT Catholics is nearly 18 to 20 times more than other communities. This is a fact coming from America, not here yet. So he has realized as a gay man that you have to work within your community. Just like we work. I have worked with Art of Living Fellow. I have worked with others. We tried with Baba Ramdev. All this sort of thing. Our job now is to sensitize our own people. Our parents who are sending the children to aversion therapy, to doctors, to convert them into straight people. And Hindu society or Indian society is becoming more regressive because lynching, this, that and the other. So we have to fight all those elements within our society which are regressive. And that is the future.
I think we have tried to do a little bit from our side as an artist. Because basically I believe that there are many functions of art, and one of the most important functions of art is to basically accept another point of view, open up, accept plurality. And I think I will end with a lovely poem by Rumi. It says there is a field of the right and there is a field of the wrong, and beyond that field there is another field. So I think it is time that the society stops discriminating and believes that there is nothing right and nothing wrong, and beyond the field of the right and the wrong there is another field. Let's meet there.
Thank you so much. I think it's the message, all my Konkars, Goa is a paradise. Let us make it a better paradise by accepting everything.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.